So it's official, Aquaman has lost hundreds of millions of dollars as the movie now officially goes to streaming. And the craziest thing is, despite all of the articles and all of the push trying to salvage this movie and Amber Heard's career, this movie doesn't even finish its cycle in the top 5. That's right. Now, my favorite part about this is that the media, they're still in spin mode, still trying to salvage Amber Heard's career. And it's amazing considering they're trying to tell you that losing 66% of the money you made from number 1 to number 2, that's success. Didn't you know? You and I, we're going to talk about this today. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Imagine being so desperate for Amber to succeed that you lie about how Aquaman 2 is doing. That's where the mainstream media is right now. Listen to this sentence here. Made on a budget of $205 million, Aquaman 2 is now close to reaching the break-even point. Do what? Now, in order to shield this as a success and to say, hey, Amber Heard, she is not so bad for a movie, they have changed the budget. Notice, it was $215 million for years. That's without reshoots, by the way. Then right before the movie launches, it mysteriously becomes $205 million. They decide that those 3 rounds of reshoots that they talked about all summer, they don't matter anymore, despite their description before being unprecedented. This is an unprecedented number of reshoots, even for a movie of that scale. So, no budget impact, though. In fact, somehow, in some way, they lowered the budget there. On top of that, the $100 to $150 million they had to spend on advertising. Remember, this opens up in almost 80 territories. That doesn't count anymore. I mean, it did in December, but now when you're shilling Amber Heard, that doesn't matter anymore. I mean, really, I don't know whether to consider this funny or sad, because when you look at this movie and you start comparing it to 2018, what you'll find is that you had a franchise that hit hard back in 2018 to the tune of $1.134 billion with a B dollars, not to mention all of the money you made in the home market before Amber Heard's name got bigger than the franchise. Compare that to now, where you have this movie slinking out of theaters. I mean, we're talking about earnings of $397 million so far, with a home box office that is pretty much flatlined. You'll notice right here, yeah, your earnings, they're pretty much done at an estimated, and again, that's an important distinction, estimated $114 million. And then the international, well, it gets a little peculiar, because when you start looking at the numbers, you have all of the top territories promoted in. You notice all of those numbers. Then there's almost $100 million for quote-unquote rest of the world. You don't get a breakdown of that. That's just a trust me bro stat. And something that is quite amazing about this movie too is that you went from 4,125 theatrical showings to just 4 weeks. Now you're down to 2,423. I mean, essentially, they want to sweep this thing under the rug. They want to pretend that it never happened. They want to say, hey, we broke even, we're doing well, when in reality, look at how it's performing against other movies. You have Mean Girls in the top spot. Beekeeper, yes, it's still being outdone by The Beekeeper. Wonka, I mean, we're talking about a movie here that launched earlier than it. That is a musical. I mean, it is a musical prequel to something. So that formula shouldn't outdo it, but it does. Then you have Migration, Anything But You, and what's really telling here too, Night Swim. Night Swim will make more profit after it finishes than Aquaman will. Not money, mind you, but profit, because it was made on a much smaller budget. There was not a lot of expectations, so you didn't have a lot of advertising. Yeah, That's where Amber Heard has put your movie right now. Now, what makes this really, really funny, in my opinion, is just how desperate the mainstream media is to convince audiences this thing is somehow, in some way, working out. I mean, if you look at headlines, there are a lot of them, by the way, but they read like this, quote, Aquaman 2 box office officially passes 2022. DC flops entire global gross in just 4 weeks. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom reaches a box office milestone as it surpasses the entire global gross of 2022's DC flop in just 4 weeks. So what they're trying to tell you there is, well, yeah, it's terrible, but guess what? It's not as bad as 2022 for DC, so somehow, in some way, that makes it better. So hey, want to keep Amber Heard on. In fact, they're bragging about things like outdoing Black Adam. And Black Adam, by the way, was not a franchise that had ever done well in the past. This was something they gambled on, and they failed, by the way. I mean, when you look at it, yeah, they took their chances, but here they're saying, well, the film has already grossed $396.2 million worldwide, nearing the $400 million mark and outperforming DC's 2022 film Black Adam. Now, this becomes much more transparent and brutal when you stop listening to the spin and you start looking at daily performances, and you notice just how badly this movie has performed over those 4 weeks. I mean, here you have 2 days, count them, 2 days where this movie breaks $10 million on a day. You have your preview day, then you have, I'm going to say, first day, your opening day. First day, $13 million. Fourth day, $10 million. Then you have 2 other days where you come close to $10 million, and that's it. I mean, that is embarrassing. Then, when you start looking down the numbers here, notice how many of them from the 8th on don't even clear $1 million a day. I mean, yeah, that's not good at all. What this means is that Amber Heard helped end Aquaman as a franchise. Jason Momoa admitted it. You've had Dolph Lundgren. Other people admit it too. Warner Brothers, they say they're going to move on without it. I mean, officially, you've lost hundreds of millions of dollars with this. Man, Warner, I hope you're proud. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Want to help out the channel, by the way? Links are in the description. Check those out. We could always use your help. Thank you.